Tim Lambesis, a name that we've not talked about in quite some time, and that's for good reason. He is currently in a California jail, considering he tried to put a hit out on his wife. Actually, he did put a hit out on his wife, but it was unsuccessful. He was caught in the process, and the whole story a couple of years ago was pretty downright shocking. But he's back in the news again, and he's in the news again for a very curious reason. It's not because he's exhausted appeals out of that or he's being made eligible for early release. No, instead it's legal news, which I guess those other things are as well. But he is planning on suing a group of California doctors for negligence, considering they didn't administer a medication to him for 2 months prior to his incarceration, which has caused him to grow male breasts, which is gynecomastia. It's a side effect that you get whenever you're in the withdrawal process, apparently, from anabolic steroids, which Tim was using for quite some time during his as-I-lay-dying days. And he was prescribed the medication to quell withdrawal symptoms, to keep these things from happening. You know, all the things that you hear about in the doping scandals, you know, the fears of shrinking testes, enlarged breasts, heightened testosterone. One could claim that his steroid use potentially caused him to make the poor decision. Not sure if they made that argument in court. Who really cares? Tim Lambesis got male titties. And here's what makes this even more curious. Typically, whenever you read a sort of, claim towards something, a legal file or a legal claim for any sort of type of thing, you get a certain presence from the language, you get a certain idea from the language. It's not something that feels like it's really subject to a lot of performance, aside from what you see in the courtroom from the attorneys and those representing. However, in this statement, it almost sounds like he's trying to compare him getting male titties to the wreck of the Hesperus, or the drama of a Shakespeare play, either that or the sinking of the Titanic. I'm going to prove that to you, actually. I'm going to read a couple of the paragraphs from this, and you sort of be the judge. Am I out of line here? Or does this seem a little flowery, a little poor me, a little, Tumblr post on, that's been retweeted on somebody's blog, or, 16-year-old mad that she didn't go to the prom? So, to establish a little bit of precedent, the facility that he is at is the George Bailey Detention Facility, and the doctor there is the Dr. Pace that you will hear about within these paragraphs. On May 25th, 2014, I met with GBDF, the detention facility doctor, first name unknown, Pace, concerning my prescription and corresponding anabolic steroid withdrawal medical condition. I reiterated to Pace the immediacy of my need to have my prescription filled, expounding my having not received my medication for 10 days. I expressed to Pace the exponential terror I was experiencing as I contemplated on the very potentials of my suffering male breast development. My fears of developing unsightly, altogether hideous male memories, and, to augment my fright, the horror stories of documented clinical studies finding painful sensitivity associated with gynecomastic symptoms. I pondered severe panics at the ruin of my career as a stage performer. Yeah, the ruin of your career is the fact that you got titties. I'm pretty sure that the ruin of your career, Tim, is the fact that you hired somebody or tried to murder your wife. That's the reason why people will look at you different. It ain't because you got titties. They're gonna laugh at that, and you'll deserve it. What with the advent of less than marketable male breasts, I even considered the potential of painful songwriting sessions as my guitar brushes against my chest. My image, my very star, the gloom of an imminent doom. To augment my fright, the exacting chemical exchange of the hormonal balance itself. Pace affirmed to me the risk of leaving my medical condition untreated, though. Pace explicitly expressed purposeful callous regarding my concerns of being prone to breast development and the painful sensitivity associated with male breast enlargement. Pace benevolently exclaimed, "I could care less about your breasts!" And satisfied with this malicious prognosis, Pace proceeded to laugh at my disposition. Pace then curtly dismissed me from the doctor's office. Obviously, as I read that, my first thought was, fucking Shakespeare. That I'm delivering some sort of poignant, large monologue that is meant to really sway people. And yeah, I guess that's what really legal documents are and what legal arguments are. But in this particular case, I don't know what is really being accomplished through this. You're trying to establish Pace as a jerk that doesn't want to administer your medication. There's got to be a reason behind that, and it's really something that's not exactly buried within this muddy text. Either which way, this is something that is going to go on trial. It's supposed to start, or at least is scheduled to start next August, so August of 2017. Personally speaking, if you want my honest opinion, if Tim Lambesis, or when Tim Lambesis does get out of jail, and I was his former wife, I would put a hit out on his tits. You know, those things might be dangerous. What do you think about this? Let me know in the comments below. I've talked way too much about male titties for one day. I'll see you next time. Take care. I sought recourse through further inmate medical request form submission. The mental anguish of my Greek god-likened physique, locked in a paradox of medically predisposition possibilities. Ultra-sensitive, tender-hearted, inflamed, grotesque male memories grew to an anxiety filled of fitful sleep, restless nights, gynecomastic-themed nightmares, insomnia. I proceeded to spend my days in severe depression. I also experienced panic attacks at the inexorable anticipation of my developing breasts. Brother Nero, I knew you'd come! Yes, I'm Brother Nero.